Jesus was a mystic. It says he never spoke but in a parable. That means he was a mystic, you see. In the Bible it says in Proverbs 1:6 that wisdom is understanding the dark sayings of the ancients. That's mysticism. But he instructed the disciples in the meanings of numbers, and Jesus expected that they had spiritual understanding. Now I want to show you something interesting. When Jesus fed the 4,000, okay, remember he fed the 4,000, that feeding of the 4,000 is called in ancient mysticism the Virgo Pisces dispensation, okay? The feeding was of the bread, which is Virgo. Now the reason that Virgo represented the bread is because in the Virgo sign, the virgin is holding the shaft of wheat, okay? So Virgo is the bread, and of course Pisces is the fish. So it was always called, way before Jesus got involved in it, the Virgo Pisces dispensation. And what that simply meant is that when the Christ, which is the higher consciousness, feeds the 4, that number 4 is the important number, feeds your intellect, spirit, emotional nature, and physical nature, that which is the virgin consciousness. That means no thought, where Jesus said take no thought. That's in meditation. That's feeding you the wheat or the bread. Then you can receive the fish, which is the wisdom of God. Okay? It doesn't mean that Jesus actually fed bread and fish to people. That has nothing to do with that. It means that this, in a parabolic type of application, symbolic application, is that when the Christ feeds your fourfold nature, that which is Virgo, which is the virgin consciousness of meditation, you then receive that which is Pisces, or the fish, which is the wisdom and understanding. Okay, when Jesus fed the 4,000, okay, how many basketfuls were left over? Well, if you don't know, I'll tell you right now. It says in the Bible there were 7. Once again, we have that number showing that when the Christ consciousness feeds your fourfold nature through the virgin mind of meditation, no thought, you receive that which is the fish or wisdom of God, which adds up to divine intervention. And I'm going to show you something very interesting in just a moment. Back to the number 7. We said that when Jesus fed the 4,000, it means that when the Christ nature within you, which is the higher consciousness, feeds your fourfold nature, physical, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional, the bread, which is Virgo, which is the virgin consciousness, which is the separation from thought and meditation. You receive the fish, which is Pisces, which is the wisdom of God, and that there is 7 left over. Okay? And that 7 left over means that what has entered into your life is the divine intervention of God. And here Jesus is saying in parable terms, in symbolism of the ancient mystics, how you yourself can have God directly intervene in your life. Allow the Christ to feed your fourfold nature. That means you must go into meditation. You separate from thought, as Jesus said, in profound meditation. That's Virgo, that's the wheat. You will receive the fish, the Pisces, which is the wisdom and understanding, because you will have the divine intervention of God. That's what feeding the loaves and fishes to the 4,000 means. And now you're going to say, what about feeding the loaves and fishes to the 5,000? That means feeding the 5 senses of man, and that's where 12 is left over when you reach perfection. I'll go into that at another time. But what I wanted to get to you is that Jesus asked his disciples in Mark 8:20, when the 7, okay, among 4,000 were fed, he said, how many basketfuls of fragment did you take up? And the disciples said 7. 7. And Jesus then looked at them and said, well then, how come you don't understand? You have to ask yourself that. What's he talking about? How come you don't understand? Jesus is saying you should understand the mystical applications of that number 7 and realize that when your fourfold nature is fed through divine meditation above thought, you will receive the fish, which is the wisdom of God, and that is the divine intervention and the only way that you can have divine intervention in your life, because the rest of the time you're occupying the carnal mind. And so Jesus says, how come you don't understand? You're supposed to understand this stuff. You're supposed to be disciples of Jesus Christ. You're supposed to understand about numerology. He did. He used it all the time. You know the number 9 means consciousness. Number 9 in the Bible means human consciousness. And Jesus goes down to the boat in John 21. He says to the guys, hey, look, you want to catch fish? Cast your net over to the right side of the boat. Do you know how many fish they caught? Look it up yourself, John 21. You know, I'm going to write here how many fish they caught, and I want you to see if you can see consciousness here and understand how Jesus taught in numerology. It says in John 21, I believe it's John 21:4, when they cast their net over to the right side of the boat, they caught 153 fish. Now, I told you that the number 9 means consciousness. 5 plus 3 plus 1 equals 9. And that's the way the Bible's tipping you off to the fact that it's had nothing to do with a boat, it had nothing to do with water, it had nothing to do with a net, it had nothing to do with a fish. This was not casting your net to the right side of a boat, it was casting your energy over to the right hemisphere of the brain, and it tips you off to that effect by saying that the total number of fish were 9, which means consciousness and mysticism.
And when you have a goddess as the creator, it's her own very body that is the universe. She is identical with the universe. And in Egypt, you have the Mother Heavens, Nut, the goddess Nut, who's represented as the whole heavenly sphere.
So it would be natural for people trying to explain the wonders of the universe to look to the female figure as the explanation for what they saw in their own lives.
Not only that, but then when you move to a philosophical point of view, the female represents what in the Kantian terminology we call the forms of sensibility. The female represents time and space itself. She is time and space. And the mystery beyond her is beyond pairs of opposites. So it isn't male and it isn't female, it neither is nor isn't. But everything is within her, so that the gods are her children. Everything you can think of, everything you can see, is the production of the goddess.
Know that, man. Listen, I'm gonna say this. A lot of people take kindness for weakness, but you just gotta show them that you're not weak. Listen, do what you want to do with me, right? But understand that when I catch you, you're gonna lose me, right? You ain't gonna be around me no more, right?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing you can do with me. Ain't nothing I can do with you. So I'm on. But people don't understand that, right? Because people think that love should be forever, right? Without them doing things to keep that love, right? People don't think that they have to work for the love, but love should be worked for every day. If you don't love me, nigga, you better show me. And if you don't, then you don't, right? And show me by loving yourself, right? Show me by respecting yourself enough to respect me. If you can't do that, then you don't love me, right? But then they're gonna take the fact that I respect them for weakness. But I'm gonna respect you in a whole nother way, because I'm gonna go silent on your ass. I ain't gonna say shit to you, right? That's what I'm gonna leave you on red, block you, never speak to you again.
Yeah. What do you say to those who lack belief in a creator when you're looking at this as a whole?
So I can just give them small examples. The sun rises on the east at the same time every day. It sets on the west at the same time every single day. The seasons never fail to go in their seasons, ever, never. These are biological clocks of the earth inside of your body, whether you like it or not. Your body starts releasing melatonin at 9:30, whether you like it or not. When you wake up in the rising, whether you like it or not, around 6 to 7, your body releases serotonin. So we see that we have biological circadian rhythms here on earth and in our bodies. My question is this: who set the clock? If there is no God, who set the calendar? If there is no God, who set the actual clock? Then you start looking at, things that happens on a micro scale and a macro scale, as above, so below. When we start looking at our internal bodies, it's just too complex. It have to be God. And then about 15 years ago, they started digging around in DNA. And they found an actual code inside of our DNA, as if a manufacturing company stamped us before it created us. And y'all can just look this up, that your DNA actually have a written code in it in every cell of your body. Who written that code? Who do we belong to? So when you start looking at, chromosomes, and you start getting into chromophores and benzene rings and the way that we interact with the sun, biological clocks, how each cell in your body have a clock and a circadian rhythm, how the sun go up and set at the same time every single day, the seasons, the way water flow. I mean, you start looking at everything, there would have to be a creator in place. Now we got to start talking about the creator of the Matrix or the creator of the real world, because them two different creators.
Right.
And you start seeing them when you start reading in different ancient texts and stuff like that. Notice when you see the creator of the Matrix is all around death, it's around sacrifice, you gotta give something up to live. But the creator of the entire universe, it's all around love, treating your brother as you treat yourself, loving thy neighbor and things like that. But the creator definitely exists. We did not create ourselves. And that just brings me to my next point.
In a world where we all chase dreams, not everyone gets picked, or so it seems. Some ride the waves, others just float. Life's a game and we all play our notes. Know your role, keep it real. Walk your path, that's the deal. Play your part, know your way. Not every choice is meant to stay. Through the trials we will stand tall. Together we rise, divided we fall. It's deeper than moments, it cuts to the soul. We're here to uncover, not just play a role. Facing facts is no joke. Life's the puzzle made to provoke. Time to stop, reflect and see. The journey's yours, but it's bigger than me. Play your part, know your way. Not every choice is meant to stay. Through the trials we will stand tall. Together we rise, divided we fall. So play your part, let it shine. In this great game you're divine. In a world when we all chase dreams lie, everyone gets picked, or so it seems. Some ride the wave, others just flow. Life's a game and we all play our notes. Know your role, keep it real. Walk your path, that's the deal. Play your part, know your way. Not every choice is meant to stay. Through the trials we will stand tall. Together we rise, divided we fall. See that the moments it cuts to the soul. We're here to uncover, not just play a role. Facing facts is no joke. Life's a puzzle made to provoke. Time to stop, reflect and see. The journey's yours, but it's bigger than me. Play your part, know the way. Not every choice is meant to stay. Through the trials we will stand tall. Together we rise, divided we score. So play your part, let it shine. In this great game you're divine.
Jesus represents the perfect man after the temple has been built, okay? So the inclusiveness of this kind of metaphysics is not a part of the direct scriptural account of Jesus. We meet him as the Lord, not as a developing human being. It is Hiram Abiff and the story of Hiram Abiff in his commissioning to build the temple that we see how we are to develop to the level of divinity, of godhood, okay? That includes the validity and the legality of a Hiram Abiff and a Solomon in equating those two with Jesus, okay? We're not talking about Jesus or Solomon or Hiram Abiff. We're talking about the spiritual man, okay? I want to make sure we understand that so we don't get lost in our search for somebody to admire, worship, and follow.
The left brain is masculine, the right brain's feminine. This is the 90% where unity consciousness is. And it's connected to the cerebrum. Remember Aries and Taurus? This is Aries, this is Taurus. Aries in the Jewish system is Gad, the tribe of Gad. Gad is God. God is in the heavens, where that beautiful fluid comes from, the Christ. The claustrum fluid, the Santa claustrum fluid. And the cerebrum, the cerebellum, so this is what they call in occult science God-man. And this is what they call Adam Man. You see, this is the cerebellum corresponds with the left brain, which is dualistic. You see, and the serpent on the tree. There's a serpent. He's always saying, Eve, eat from the tree, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil simply means duality, left brain. You see, people who are stuck in the left brain, and the positive and the magnetic, the hermetic, the intuitive, sixth sense, or the 360 senses according to the Egyptians. Whereas this guy's, he believes in the 5 senses, you know. It feels like, you know, he goes with his senses and what he sees. And these these eyes are very deceptive, because we see objects and there's nothing there. It's all energy, it's all motion. All I'm seeing in front of my eyes right now is just motion. The 92 so-called elements of substance don't exist. There's just different rates of motion. Everything is motion. Mind over matter. Mind, universe is mind. And that's the motion. We're in it. Enjoy the ride. Because it comes and goes. Bodies come and go. These bodies, yeah, they're pretty good, as you can see. This is the temple of Solomon that was not built with saw and hammer or any kind of noise. Soul is the soul that you have in your bodies. And Ammon's horn, is in your head. It's the temple of Solomon. Sin comes from the word sinister, left. You know, the guy on the left who tells you to go out and do the bad deed. The guy on the right says, no, you can't do that. Remember Pinocchio? He's listening to the good guy and he listens to the bad guy on the left. Sinister is just the Latin word for left. There's 2 places where the Christ is crucified. You see, the Christ gets crucified down here when the Christ oil comes down and gets crucified, and this is Egypt. Everything below the kidneys and below the solar plexus is Egypt. Egypt is down there, Sodom, Gomorrah. And everything above, you see that's the Jerusalem above, the Pia Mater, the most beautiful soft part of the brain, the Pia Mater, the Holy Mother. That's the Jerusalem above. And this is Hagar, the children of fleshly Israel. Because the fleshly seed is born here. But the born again Christ, the christened one, the illuminated one, is born in the head, where he's crucified in Golgotha. Golgotha is the skull. There's 2 places where Jesus gets crucified. Egypt and Sodom, as it says in Revelation 11:8. And in Golgotha. That's Golgotha. That's where the crucifixion happens. And that's the tomb. For 3 days, Jesus is dead and then he's resurrected. When the pineal gland receives that oil, it charges up the cerebrum and reactivates all the dormant brain cells. And this is the result, people. There's the halos, the salvation, the salud, the health. Because these salts, and I'm going to discuss the 12 inorganic mineral salts, cell salts, which is the basis for all healing. All healing. If you supply the right cell salts to the blood, you can cure everything. You can maintain your health forever. Forever. And that's the science that's in the Bible. And the 12 disciples are basically the 12 cell salts. And every other 12 that exists in your body.
So what happens when the feelings get suppressed? People tend to have an exaggerated response. A little thing and then they get ticked off. You say, why are they getting ticked off? They have an exaggerated response to just little things. Hello, how you feel? None of your business. You say, Dad, you know, where did this come from? Because of the suppression, the feeling has to be released, and when it's released, it's exaggerated. So we're just turning on each other. But this causes what we call neurotic condition, anxiety. So we beginning to see a lot of medicine and a lot of things coming on television. Say, wonder where all this is coming from. Why is it selling like hotcakes? Because we have a lot of depression, a lot of unreleased feelings, in us. And then we have the subliminal embedding in the commercials, on television, subliminal embedding on this, what you call elevator music, just psychology music. You have subliminal embedding on the movies, where they buy the time to flash a message to you on the screen that you don't see, because you think you're seeing the image constantly, but it's coming at impulses. It's a flash, constant flashing. And by altering the flash, you can do what they call hypnotize a person. The way you hypnotize a person is alter their breathing. You always alter the breath, the spirit, which you call in-spirit and ex-spirit, or inspire and expire, which comes from spirit. So you alter the spirit, you alter the rhythm by altering the pulse of the image that's flashed on the screen. The image that's flashed on the CD. The image that's flashed, you alter it. How do you feel? Don't you feel good? Why don't you take a deep breath? Now you can breathe out. Don't you hear the birds? Isn't that nice? Oh. And see, you're slowing down the person. Every time you talk, you just keep slowing them down. And once you slow them down, you'll change their breath. You breathe out. You breathe in the universe. You breathe in the universal spirit that gives you power. Now breathe in that spirit. Now breathe out all your anger and frustration. Now breathe in all the joy. Now breathe in all the unhappiness. You see? I'm altering your breathing. Now I can get you.
Heaven and hell are both states of mind. When a person is in a very doubtful and negative state of mind, he's always going to catch hell. But when the individual finds the heaven, the harmony, the God, the good, the love that is resident in his own being, then he begins to experience heaven. Be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. In other words, you change your conditions by changing your self-image. If you see yourself as a person who is in a vale of tears and under conditions and circumstances, that's the way you will be until you change your mind. Also, one of the techniques that I teach is called visualization. It teaches the person to see himself being, doing, and having the good which he desires. And the Bible says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And it simply means that if you cannot see yourself in a better condition, you will die in the terrible condition that you're in.
Ain't going back. is the life hustler. Been there, ain't going back. Lights off.
Here is Jesus Christ talking. This is your hero now. This is him. This is the one you're bowing to. What does he say? In John chapter 5, verse 30, I can of my own self do nothing. Do you see what he just said? What did Krishna just say? What did Krishna just say? Krishna just said he knows that it is not he who acts. What did Jesus just say? I of my own self can do nothing. Jesus Christ squared right along with Krishna because Jesus Christ and Krishna are the same person. They've been saying the same thing for 20,000 years. And there's a whole bunch of others that fit right into the line called Osiris and Isis and Horus, and it's all the same person. And they're all saying the same thing. It is not me. It is that which is in within me. And he says, look what he says there. I can of my own self do nothing. I judge. My judgment is just because I seek not but the will of the Father which has sent me. Okay? Isn't that interesting? The will of the Father which has sent me. Now look at page 104, right where you are, John 14, okay? Go to John chapter 14. Jesus says, believe not that I'm in the Father and the Father in me. The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwells in me, he does the work. Do you see what Jesus has done? Jesus has said to you exactly what Krishna said. I didn't do any of this stuff. You know, you can put me on Christmas cards and Easter cards and say, honk if you love Jesus, and that's nice, but I ain't doing any of this stuff. You know, I'm telling you, you know why I love him so much and I follow him as my guru? Because he had the guts to tell the truth. You can't get any of these evangelists to tell you they don't have any power. He tell you, Jesus said he didn't have any power. It was the power of the Father, the celestial universal God. He let it out. He told everybody, see? And then he said something tremendous because he said, you know what he said? He said, look, the things that I do, you can do better than me. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Jerry, well, I'm thinking of Swagger and these guys saying that you could do better than them? No, because they, you know, they're the exalted evangelists and they're anointed by God and they speak the words of truth and nobody can, you know, all you can do is genuflect while they put their hand on you. Jesus says, no, I'm Jesus. I'm the head honcho here and you can do better than me. And you say, well, how is this possible? Well, he says, I told you. It's the Father in me that does the work. So then look in John 14 where you are. Look at verse 23. If a man loves me, he'll keep my words. In other words, you'll do what he says. You'll practice the single eye. You'll cast your net to the right side. You'll take no thought. And my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. So the same Father that was in Jesus that did the work is in you to do the exact same work that he did through Jesus. And all the while you've been sniveling and snotting and snorting with all of these people telling you you're a worthless sinner. And Jesus said just the opposite. That's a lot of bull. You are the light of the world. You are the branch. And if you think I'm a hot shot, let me tell you something. What's in me is in you. And you can do every bit the same thing as I did. So next year, send out Christmas cards with your picture on it. And say, Merry Christmas, and my picture's on it because Jesus said I was as good as him, so why not? Here's a picture of where I was born. Oh, little town of Orange, New Jersey. But isn't it great? Isn't it great when you look at the truth and find out, hey, you're something special here. And he came, and Jesus Christ came not to say how good he was. He came to say how good you were. And we've let all of these characters put us on a guilt trip all of our life, snorting and sniveling and snotting, trying to get them to save us. We don't need that. Jesus Christ says you don't need nothing except what's inside of you. Each one of you has a gift of your own, which comes out of that right hemisphere of the brain, which is channeled from the supreme God who dwells within you to give you that. And then you'll know that what you do is not something that you've done. It is something that through inaction you have submitted yourself to meditation, and that has come into you and given you direction.
How connected is mental health and physical health?
they one and the same. Matter of fact, I was just talking to Ash Cash, and we was talking about that how basically your mental health, or what you would call emotions, energy in motions, drive the principal physiology of your body. And what I mean by that is, if you happy, your brain produces a chemical reaction called dopamine. If you mellow and you need to go to sleep or relax, your brain produces something called melatonin. If you serious and you focus, the brain produces a chemical called serotonin. If you horny and you feel like reproducing or making love or bonding with your family or significant other, your brain produces something called oxytocin. When you mad, your brain produces a chemical called epinephrine, norepinephrine. When you scared and you go into a state of fight or flight, the brain and the adrenals produces a chemical called adrenaline or cortisol. So any energy and motion or emotional state that you go to, the brain have a physical chemical reaction that has a very big impact on your actual biology. So it's always mental first. And that's why I like to say mind over matter, because mind created matter. If it don't mind, it don't matter. It ain't like that we had bodies and said, oh, let's create consciousness. No, we had consciousness and we wanted to experience reality. So our consciousness created these tools or these vehicles or avatars to experience reality.
Real shit.
So it plays a major role. And it shows you that most of depression, most people that are depressed is people that don't have their spiritual system in check, or most people that are suffering from cultural identity crisis. All depression is to know that you are greater than what you are, and you can't find that connection to find out how great you are. So it leaves you empty inside, because you know it's something to you that is bigger than where you at right now, but for some damn reason you just can't put your hand on it. That's some of the most depressing things ever. And that's what really drives depression, Banks.
Well, you know you special.
Yeah, but you don't know why, where, how, when.
Real shit.
So we don't know when we are, we don't know why we are, we don't know where we are, we don't know who we are. And look, the most important thing that a lot of people struggle with is identity. We don't know how we are.
Damn.
What did Jesus say? John chapter 5. What did he say? Was he such a superhuman being? Was he such a guru? What did he say? John chapter 5, verse 30. I can of mine own self do nothing. And what about if he pats himself on the back? Hey, look at me. I'm on all the Christmas cards. Oh, little time. Hey, that's me. Away in a manger. That's me. Hey, I'll sign your autograph. Hey, gee. Could he do that? Could he say, look at me? Ain't I something? Ain't I hot-tatsy? No, because he said, look at verse 31. If I bear witness of myself, in other words, if I tell you Jesus can do this and Jesus can do that, what does he say? My witness is not true. If I start telling you, he said, that I'm something special, forget about it. So there Jesus, being totally human, just like you, had no power, had no more power than you do, did not possess anything in the physical realm any more than any of you sitting here. In other words, he's saying, just like everybody sitting in every chair, I have got nothing more than any of you. But it says in 1 John 4:2 that every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God. That means a total human being encased within a total carnal mind, just as you are, just as I am. And Shakyamuni Buddha and Jesus Christ, both human beings, found something. They found something that was available to every human being who will ever be alive. Buddha called it Buddhahood. Jesus called it the kingdom of God, that inner being that dwells at the right hemisphere of your brain, now trying to awake from the slumber that it's been in all of your life. All of your life. Didn't Jesus do wonderful things? Say yes on television. Yes. Don't you believe that Jesus, did great things for all the people in the world? Yes. Didn't he do? Don't you love all the things that Jesus did for everybody? Yes. Right? Isn't it true? You can't. Could I get in trouble by going in any church and saying, didn't Jesus do wonderful things? Wouldn't everybody say, yes. Didn't Jesus do great things? Yes. Didn't Jesus do marvelous things? Yes. Look at John 14. Huh? Look at John 14. Would you go to verse 12? I say to you, he that believes on me, the works that I do shall he do, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go to the Father. Why do you have to go to the Father? Because he couldn't have you looking at a man. He couldn't have you following a superstar like you follow on television. Huh? He had to plug you into the source, not the offspring of the source. He came to show you the way. But he couldn't have you listening to him. He had to have you listening to him. He had to go. Because, you know why? If he would tell Albert, I want to tell you something about the kingdom. You know what would happen when Albert would tell? She would change a teeny bit. And then when it gets to Joe, God knows what's going to come out. And Joe's going to come over here and tell Marie. And I don't know if you ever met Marie, but when Marie gets known, it's going to be a beaut, right, Marie? And when Marie tells Marge, what's she going to hear? The way I heard it, you got to wash your feet, stick your head in a bowl of cleaning fluid, and then say 3 times, Jesus is Lord, and eat a little bread and a matzah, and everything is great. See what I'm saying to you? That's religion. So what did he say? No, you can't do that. Don't listen to the other guy's version of it. Go inside and go to the source. You're looking at somebody that does, and you're looking at somebody that you say, where did you get this stuff from? And I'm telling you where I got it from. I tell you where I came from to share it with you. So you're going to say, oh, he's crazy. Well, they said he was crazy too. Said all these guys were crazy. But you got an opportunity. I didn't ask you for it. Well, how much? Has anybody knocked on your? You got any envelopes from us saying, oh, you know, you got to pay up your 10%, or where's your money? No.
I stopped identifying with my emotions. When I identify with my thoughts, my mind, my body, or emotions, life becomes chaotic. I get blown away by every constant change that happens in life, the circumstances of my body, the circumstances of reality. If I identified with failure, or if I identified with every thought that popped up in my head, I would be insane by now, and so would anyone. That's why the Freemasons use the boat and the anchor. It sounds stupid. People think Freemasonry is evil, but whether you think it's evil or not, you can still learn from their symbolism because it gives you wisdom. The boat on top of the water represents the things that change in life, the things that are in constant motion that you can't control. Thoughts, emotions. You don't want to identify with the boat. You want to be the anchor. You want to anchor yourself to something that is unchanging, which is the awareness of the mind. Anchor your identity to the observer of the things that are constantly changing. Observe the thoughts, the body, the changes, the circumstances, and the emotions, but don't become them. Don't identify with them. Remain rooted in your spiritual essence. There is a part of you that is fully detached from every trauma you've ever been through, and that is the awareness. When you recognize awareness and reintegrate it back into your consciousness, you literally gain a superpower, and you can kind of step back from the world. It's beautiful.
In the stillness of the night, hear the whispers call. Discipline and consistency stand strong through it all. Stepping out the ego, embracing the true self. Mind over matter, can rely on no one else. Oh, you are the key, unlock what's within. Consistency and discipline, that's the way we ride. Free eyes to see the truth. Talk is cheap, but knowledge is the peak. 3 eyes to see the visions unfold. You're your own team. Be brave,